Good afternoon, everybody. Monday, it's definitely autumnal. I'm very cold. I don't know about the rest of you. Thank you for attending this session, which is an info session for the Scottish AI Summit call for content. I'm going to kick off with a few slides, and then we're going to have a few words from our working group chairs, and then we're opening the floor to all of you to ask any questions. So I'll start off by introducing myself. I'm Steph. I'm Steph Wright. I'm the head of the Scottish AI Alliance. The Scottish AI Alliance is the body tasked with the delivery of Scotland's national AI strategy, and it's a partnership between the Data Lab Innovation Centre and the Scottish Government. So we run the Scottish AI Summit. I have a couple of my colleagues on the call with me today, Will Millership, who's a comms and events manager, and we have Callum McDonald, who's our events and engagement officer. And we also have our 3 working group chairs, who I'll introduce to you later on. So I'm going to now share my screen and hope that it works. Give me 1 second. You'd think 2.5 years later, we'd figure this all out easily, but it's still challenging. So give me a sec. Okie dokes. So this is the bit where I say, can everyone see my slides? And it's also the bit where I can no longer see you. So if you want to turn on your mic and say you can't see it if you can't. Otherwise, if I hear silence, I'm just going to go ahead. Fantastic.
Good, Steph.
Oh, can you hear? Can you see? Okay.
Yeah, just saying all good.
Fantastic. Thank you. Brilliant. So, like I said, this is the call for content info session, and thank you so much for everyone who can make it today. Obviously, it was originally planned for last Monday, and for reasons I think everyone's quite familiar with, we weren't able to hold it that day. So I'm glad we were able to have it today. So thank you for coming to join us. So I'll start off with just giving you a bit of info about well, we keep saying last year, but it was actually this year, the last Scottish AI Summit, which took place in March earlier this year. It was the inaugural one. It was the first one we held, and it was a great event. We had 70 speakers, 30 exhibitors, 300 delegates in person, and 500 delegates online. And it was held at Dynamic Earth in Edinburgh. It was a great event. It was just really nice to get back together in person and online to kick off loads of fantastic discussions. Going forward for 2023, we have taken back taken in some of the feedback we got. So hopefully we'll be able to make it even better. So on to a bit of info about the next one. So the next one will be in Glasgow on the 28th to 29th of March. It will be at the Technology Innovation Centre at the University of Strathclyde. So it will be 2 days next year, more sessions, more delegates. Join in the conversation. And my formatting went all funny there. It did look better before. So yes, so that's the details about next year. So a bit of a general overview for everybody. We will have 4 keynotes in our program. This is not subject to the open call. We have 3 confirmed so far, and hopefully we'll have the 4th confirmed in the next few weeks, which we will announce when we launch the ticket sales for the summit. We will hope to have 12 parallel sessions curated from this open call across 3 content tracks: community, economy, and technology. Each content track will be curated by a specific working group chaired by a leadership group member, who are all with us today. And members of the working group are recruited from an open call. Some of you, I think I see some people on the call here that have applied to be part of the working groups, which is fantastic. So what are we looking for? We're keen to not have our audience talk that all day. We want sessions that are interactive, that get people involved, that get them joining the conversation. We're keen to hear from more outside the box ideas, e.g. exhibitions, interactive experiences, etc. We want sessions with diverse participants that are as inclusive as possible. Apologies for the formatting. It looked fine before I put it into the presentation mode. And we're happy to help develop your idea if it's appropriate for the summit. And we're looking for everything to be confirmed by early February 2023. Great. So onto our content tracks. As I mentioned earlier, we have 3 content tracks: community, economy, and technology. when you submit a proposal, you need to indicate which track your proposal is for. And our content track chairs are Sam Rhynas, who's the CEO of FAQs, is the chair of our community track. We have Michael Boniface, who's the COO of Kythera AI, who is the chair for the economy track. And we have Professor Michael Rovatsos, who's the professor of AI at the University of Edinburgh, and he chairs the technology track. And all three are here with us today. So I want to pass over to our chairs just to say a few words about what they're kind of looking for, what ideally they'd like to see. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I am going to go over to Sam first for the community track. Sam had some technical difficulties with the connection, so hopefully we'll be able to hear her okay.
You haven't had a robotic voice for the whole of that, Steph. I'm pleased to report. So I hope you can all hear me loud and clear. So I've got a bad Wi-Fi and I'm choked with a cold, but ignoring all of that, I hope you can hear what I'm going to say anyway. I am going to keep it really kind of short and sweet. I was really delighted to be asked to chair the community side of things, because community for me is really, really important. I run a couple of volunteer groups, which are essentially community around the world of tech. One of them specifically around supporting women in tech, and the other one is about sharing learning and knowledge about using Python in the world of data science. Bringing that on a larger scale into what we might be able to achieve within the AI Summit is quite exciting, and I think community really is something that can mean very different things to different people, and I kind of want to see that reflected in some of the ideas that are come through. What does it mean about building a community, and about how we share our learnings and our understandings around AI, which I think can be extremely important in terms of speeding up our learnings, learning from other people's mistakes. Mistakes are always a brilliant topic to actually hear about, I personally find, at things like conferences, because sometimes we focus on the good almost too much, but what can we learn from some of the mistakes that others have made? Community is a brilliant way. Share what you've done, be very open, and that gives us opportunity to bring in that aspect of ethics around things as well. If we're open, if we learn from each other, we can think about what we're doing and whether or not we're doing it correctly. What we really want to grow on is something that happened from last year's conference. Earlier this year's conference, I'm doing the same as you, Steph, is about how do we create a really inclusive world for AI within Scotland, and hopefully we can do things that demonstrate beyond Scotland about how we should be open, inclusive, really create an environment that people see has value and that we can share. I threw a lot of words out there, but I think the opportunity for a session about community could cover any of those things. So I would ask you to think about your community, how you can maybe bring that to the forefront, how you can look for connections with others. As Steph said, we're not just looking for talks. This is something that we want to be interactive. How could you create perhaps a workshop, something that can get the audience involved and maybe get them thinking about things that they don't think about, because maybe they're part of a different community, and it's how do we bring everything together? So I think there's lots of opportunities in that area, and yeah, I'm excited to hear maybe some questions today about thoughts that people have had, or what else might come in.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Sam. I'm going to hand over to Michael Boniface next, who's the chair of our economy group.
And I'm not wishing to mirror Sam identically, I am also choked with the cold and have a crappy internet connection. So there is a theme clearly through the session. So from my side, so the economy track is interesting because it's such a wide and varied term. From my perspective, so I do an awful lot of work with startups and early stage companies, not just in Scotland, but across the UK and beyond, and have also spent a lot of time talking to people around how societal challenges can be fixed through technology, and how we can approach some of the larger challenges that we see as a regional economy. So I think the themes from my perspective are ones around opportunities, and also around optimism around how technology can contribute. So that can be contributing to stimulate the economy, to creating a new environment, or also things that can benefit the economy as a whole. So I think one of the challenges of having such a wide topic is it's almost harder to select things, because we're not saying, well, it's this and it's very specific. So I'm really interested in hearing all sorts of wide range of ideas just around those general themes of optimism and opportunity that can impact the economy, either through stimulation or through growth for the economy through technology. So yeah, super interested to hear the varied things that we could do on this track.
That's great. Thank you very much, Michael. And then on to Michael Rovatsos for the technology track.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Steph. So yeah, I'm also delighted to be able to help with this because I think it's really important that we think about how we can make this event a success and how we can attract as many people as possible to engage with the topic of AI in Scotland. So AI is obviously a technology, so technology is important. And I think there are a number of kind of areas that I personally think are of interest, including, you know, what's new and big and important, and in particular, if it has come out of Scotland. Also what lies ahead, discussing what the future of these technologies is and what that means for Scotland. But also, for example, what work is being done on using technology to make AI safer, responsible, and more ethical. I think one thing I would say is that we are here to kind of help curate the program with the working groups. So personally, I'm not really expecting that, you know, any proposal has to be kind of completely kind of perfect and thought through to into every detail. So you know, we'll work with proposers, with the working group. We'll think about, you know, once we've decided what the sessions are, who should be invited, what they should do, and also to think a little bit about the objectives. I mean, I think generally we want people to learn about interesting stuff. We want them to exchange their experiences. We also want to have kind of underrepresented voices, and we want to have the people there who can actually say something about the things we're presenting that's interesting and important to different groups in our society. So yeah, really open to all kinds of ideas. It's not always easy to make things interactive and fun at a conference, because it does sound like a summit, a conference. But I think we can try and get creative, and we can also get help from people who can think creatively. Many of us have worked with a lot of organizations, and we can bring in that sort of expertise to help us brainstorm and think about what the best format is for every session.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much to our chairs, who are, of course, also members of our the Scottish AI Alliance's leadership group. So thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen again, just to go back to the slides, if I can. And we will go, there we go. And there we go, back to the slides. So thank you very much, Michael, and Sam. And on to the next slide. So some frequently asked questions so far that I think some of you will probably have in mind is, must it only be Scottish participants? No, but our ideally we'd like to showcase the amazing stuff that goes on in AI in Scotland, but we're very open, you know, to you know, organizations, individuals outside Scotland that share our values and our vision for trustworthy, ethical, and inclusive AI. And that leads into the must I be Scottish? Well, no, not at all. It's the similar answer there. You know, we ideally like to have as many proposals from the Scottish ecosystem as possible, but we're very open to ones out with Scotland, especially once again that it kind of aligns with our values and our vision, and also the themes of the tracks, etc. Can we have hybrid sessions, mix of online and in person? This is something we've actually thought about, and we specifically put in the call for content is ideally no. We'd like to either have the session be fully online or fully in person. Earlier this year, we did have many panel sessions, discussion sessions, and workshops that were hybrid, and there are obviously technical challenges around that that limits the experience for either the in-person or the online audience. So ideally, we'd like it to be one or the other to maximize the the kind of experience of our delegates and our audience. There can obviously be exceptions, but ideally, we'd like it to be either fully online or fully in person. What if my proposal fits more than one track? Absolutely, you're able to select more than one track. It's quite interesting. One of our leadership group were asking, what about healthcare? Which track does healthcare go into? And my answer would be, well, it would depend what the proposal around healthcare is. Is it about, how to get patients more involved in AI decision making or the application of AI in healthcare? Then I would say that's probably community. Or if it's about the latest research or the latest technical capabilities of AI in healthcare, that'll be technology. Or how AI in healthcare can contribute to economic growth through innovation and cost savings, etc. So it really just depends on which perspective you're coming in. That's why we kind of chose the 3 tracks, that it allows for flexibility for the topic and the subject matter, which track it falls into. Is there a budget to help with travel and accommodation? We do have a small budget to help with travel and accommodation, especially if we're getting community groups or not-for-profit or third sector organizations involved. We'll definitely help out with that. But it will be on a case-by-case basis. So we'll obviously talk to you through that. So those are some immediate FAQs that our team have thought about. But now I'm going to throw it over to you for questions.